For 7 years, we've been going into the Game of Thrones not knowing what to expect. I will admit that as each season went, the quality has not exactly gotten better. But at the same time, there are things that I've been waiting for answers for years now. What is the Fire and Ice? Who will be the final conflict? Will it be these two? Or is she still playing a role? I guess we'll find out tonight when we do Game of Thrones. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 7, The Dragon and the Wolf. And there's lots of ways you can take this. Because, well, the two big houses right now are the Wolf and the Dragon. But isn't one of them both? Wouldn't his parents be the Wolf and the Dragon they got together? Well, that depends on how much you know about the world and how much you believe about theories. Then again, we also have the others, and with everything going on with them, who knows? If this is your first time here, though, click that subscribe button, because I do Game of Thrones theories along with basic storytelling theories, and I review each episode as it comes out. For now, though, I just want to quickly recap what got us here. The big threat, the others are coming. Ice necromancers with ice zombies, the likes of which are almost unstoppable, until we find out that Obsidian and Valyrian steel blades have a chance. A crack suicide squad of D&D adventurers went forth beyond the wall in order to try to get proof that these mystical creatures exist, even though we have other zombies and we have dragons. I mean, like, seriously, things are... Okay, so Jon's sword, Valyrian steel, like mentioned before, can cut them down. So can flaming swords. So can Obsidian. But the Night King, he had a plan. And he pretty much played Jon Snow. Because what he did was he let Jon Snow live long enough to call for help. And it's one of those plans that makes you really think. Because you see, he knew there was a dragon going to come rescue them, thanks to Daenerys. And he raised it. He killed one of the weaker of the three dragons, so he has a dragon of his own. A white, an undead dragon with blue eyes. Now, Fire and Ice have come, and we're going to see who wins. And of course, we also have what's going on at Winterfell, where two of the children of Stark, Arya and Sansa, seem to be at war with each other, mostly through the manipulation of the crappiest version of Littlefinger we've seen yet. He's barely really politicking at this point, although he is playing them off each other. And I think it's going to get him killed. Hopefully by Arya. I'm a little surprised that Bran hasn't played a bigger role in all of this. One, because he really knows what's going on. And two, because since he's become the One-Eyed Raven, the Three-Eyed Raven, he hasn't really done much, other than drop a few cryptic clues and be kind of weird and standoffish. When realistically, he should be like, hey, you know what Littlefinger did? Everything's finally lined up, so let's see where this goes. Here's the preview.
There is only one war that matters, and it is here.
But for right now, all hopes aside, I'm going to sit there and watch the same way I did way back in Season 1. And then I'll come back and record the rest of this. So for now, it's spoiler time. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. And whoa, is this ever a spoiler-full episode, especially if you've only read the books. All those characters that we've been following for so long, so many great moments, so many fist-pumping ideas, so many theories confirmed. I literally am, the credits are still rolling here as I'm recording this, and I cannot believe what I just saw. Eastwatch has fallen. Eastwatch by the sea. And with it part of the wall, and the others are here. let's be honest. Jon was right. This is the Great War, the only war that matters. And point blank, I think I now know why it's taken so long for it to get started. Because the Night's King didn't have a way to bring down the wall. What they needed was a dragon, and he's got it now. I could probably do an entire episode just on, oh my god, the White Dragon. But, to be honest, this season has felt a little bit rushed. Now, even with all these fist-pumping, oh yeah, I love these moments, there's just as many moments where I sit there and think their pacing was totally off. So I'm going to spend the entire month of September talking about pacing, and different things about stories that annoy us and not, and use a lot of Game of Thrones as my touchstone. So again, hit that subscribe button if you want to hear every Sunday me going into more about how the pacing works, and then come October I'll do something Halloween themed again. But alright, back to the episode, and I guess we need to start with where the episode started. More or less King's Landing, at the Dragon's Pit. Now, this is one of those things that drives me nuts, because they got everyone together, and they could have wrapped it up so quickly, but they didn't. In fact, there's part of me that wanted to actually start this review of the spoiler section with being like, wow, that was the easiest thing Cersei ever agreed to. Oh, wait, there's a catch. She wants Jon to be like, no, you're neutral. It's going to be, you're going to serve whoever it is that wins the war between me and Dany. Which, for the record, is still a crappy deal on Cersei's side, because Dany still has the numbers. Now, also there was the whole Euron fake-out, and I really liked that, because I honestly believed he turned tail too. And even though she wasn't in the episode, Asha was totally being felt throughout the entirety of that. Especially the scene between Jon and Theon. Obviously, Euron and Theon are going to have to show up next season to figure out what's going on. Now, for the most part, everything else that happened was pretty much expected. I mean, let's be honest. Cersei loses her shit. Cersei betrays the Alliance. The Alliance is all like, hey, wait a minute. There's only one war that matters, the one between the living and the dead. And somehow Cersei can sit there and watch an undead skeleton try to claw at her, and her first thought is, hey, how can I use this to my advantage to screw over people? Now, to his credit, Jaime doesn't want any part of this. He believes her, he trusts her, and he plans on marching the Lannister armies north to fight alongside them. And when she screws him over and is like, no, he goes it alone. I did find it kind of poetic, this first snows falling as he was just leaving. Of course, that means all of our main characters that we care about and like, because no one likes Cersei, right, are going to be up north. And, of course, that means the dragons, and just everything is going on at Winterfell next year. Like I said, with the wall fallen, Winterfell is pretty much ground zero. It's also going to have some interesting ramifications for the incest that we totally just found out about. I'll talk about Sam and them later. For now, let's talk about Littlefinger, and the plot that last week I said was kind of annoying. Now, I kind of hoped that they were playing him, and there's part of me that says that they gave us plenty of clues, but I had lost faith in the storytelling capability of Dan and Dave for a little bit. But this did reassure me. Because, you see, all it took was Bran to have seen it all and talk about it with them. Just because it happened off-panel doesn't mean it didn't happen. And one of the great moments is right up till when she says, call my sister to the Great Hall, and Arya walks in. Yeah, Arya looks confident, but Arya always looks confident even when she's about to do something stupid or get schooled. I accuse Peter Baelish of all of these crimes, and totally, at that moment, Sansa and Arya and Bran, I mean, I literally was up, yes, yesing, because that was so awesome. The Stark siblings working together to take down the person who totally screwed over their family, and they laid it out pretty succinctly. First, you murdered Robert Arryn. Then, you had Lysa Arryn send a letter that started the entire thing in motion. Then, you, in King's Landing, betrayed my father and had him executed. Then you pushed my aunt out the moon door. And then you totally usurped the entire Vale. And then you sold me to the Boltons, and in doing so, tried to take control of Winterfell. Basically, your scheme is up. And as much as I think that, Littlefinger himself, his schemes got worse and worse as we got off of book plot, all in all, it was a pretty succinct and pretty great moment when we sit there and say, hey, you who've been benefiting from all this bullshit, no more. Your time has come. And when Arya slit his throat, I almost jumped for joy. And I actually like Littlefinger's character. And it finally got to showcase what it means to be a Stark. And after 6 seasons of watching them die, get beat down, raped, attacked, put in horrible situations, needing to go with the lesser of two evils, getting to see Lady Stark, Sansa, and Arya deal justice for their father, just felt so good. And even later, when they were standing on the battlements and talking, and Sansa said, "You're the toughest person I know, just don't get used to me saying nice things." The entire callback to Ned, way back when, was just so beautiful. I almost felt like Sean Bean was standing right there behind them, even though he wasn't. Because yes, I do believe that somewhere Ned is looking down on his daughters and protecting them. When winter comes, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. But okay, let's move on to Jon for a minute. There was part of me that really hoped when they were having their conversation at Dragonstone about, hey, you should ride with me. No, we should go and just have you fly in. That Daenerys was going to be like, no, you should ride with me on Drogon. But then on those boats, it totally paid off for Jon because, let's be honest, there was a different sort of dragon riding going on. Bum chicka wow wow. Alright, so is that incest that they're cousins or incest that they're niece or nephew and aunt? Because I mean, technically, like her father, his grandfather, and her mother, his grandmother, were sisters. So, it just yeah, okay. When the family tree just starts going round in circles, it's just a little too far for me. All right, so then we have the end of the episode, and we have Tormund at the wall, along with our favorite fire zombie and only flaming sword wielder left, Beric looking out. And I guess it makes sense that Jon left the two of them in charge, because one, they were part of the ranging and got to see everything that was going on, and two, they're two of the most badass characters there are that wouldn't have a lot of place in King's Landing. So okay, they're there, and they see the army coming, but then the army stops, because they're waiting for it. Back to where we started this spoiler section. The Night King, riding on the dead dragon. The undead dragon. And this picture here that we got at the beginning of the season of the dragon with blue eyes, I thought was him warging it. No. It's the Night King having taken control. And now next year, we are going to see the worst war ever depicted. It's going to be The Walking Dead meets Lord of the Rings, and hopefully Dan and Dave do it justice. Then there's the final point to talk about, which, yes, is back to the incense, and that was Bran and Sam giving all of the exposition about what was going on. I did like the fact that even though, in theory, Bran can see everything, he actually hasn't seen everything, so he got told, hey, look at this point in time. That was kind of a cool add-on there. And of course, all of this has implications into the books. George has said that The Winds of Winter may be coming out sometime next year. Anyway, that means that some of this has got to have been things he's told Dan and Dave about. Now, obviously, I don't know the specifics, and I'm sure that even Dan and Dave don't, because George probably doesn't. But the long strokes, the wall's going to come at least partially down. The undead are coming past. The last stand is going to be at Winterfell. Somehow I get the feeling that's all true. And at some point we're going to need Brienne and we're going to need Jaime up at Winterfell fighting together to have Jaime's dream mean anything. With so few main characters left, and all except for pretty much Cersei gathering in one place, it really has that moment of just transition screaming out of it. I loved tonight's episode. I loved the season. There were pacing issues. There were all sorts of issues. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And like I said, I'm going to spend the next month dissecting exactly what I mean when I say pacing, based on between this and my review of Death Note, both of which I'm sure are going to be controversial at best. But next year, Dragon vs. Dragon, John being the Song of Fire and Ice, Rhaegar and Lyanne being married, confirmed. I mean, this all just, boom. And most of the threats are dead. Of course, there's still the Golden Company, and I'm curious how they're going to play a role. What did you guys think, though? Was there anything tonight that you thought I should have mentioned that I didn't? Or how about just, how many of you were just blown away? With this being the biggest, most crazy season finale yet, and let's not sugarcoat it there either. There have been some pretty crazy balls-to-the-walls finales. I really want to hear your thoughts this time. But of course, we've also come to the end of my review, so I have to ask you to do a couple of things. First, hit that like, thumbs up button, because that would really help my channel. And second, let someone else know about my channel, because that would really help too. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we're going to be doing a lot of Game of Thrones stuff throughout September, and maybe going forward, especially if you leave a comment saying you'd like to, because I'm trying to build a community here, one where we can talk about the whys, the hows, and if there's ever been a story that allows us to explore what it means to be a storyteller and to tell a story, I think it's A Song of Fire and Ice. What do you think? Either way, I hope you have a good night, and thanks for watching.